think there is quite a lot of information on the internet.
Yeah.
There could be more, definitely. So I think the onus is on us, for the people who are in the space, to share that information.
Right.
There's no benefit in gatekeeping anything, because there is room for everyone.
Right.
Okay, for the girls listening, there's room for everyone. So never think that an industry is that oversaturated that there won't be room for you, that you can't enter the space because so many people you know are already in pageantry. There's a slice for everyone in this cake. So for every pageant girl, I would like to implore all of us to share as much information as we can, post as much as we can, and make sure that we're sharing our journeys and our experiences as real and as honestly as we possibly can, to share the good, the bad, and the ugly, so people know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Because I know from first-hand experience as well, I've gotten into the space with this promise that my life is going to change and this is going to be so amazing. Yes, the glitz, the glamour, and all of those. And yes, it is there, but there's also another part, another reality that coexists with that. And I do believe that it's only fair and it's the responsible thing to do for the girls coming after to know exactly what they're getting themselves into. And the only way they'll know is if we share that information. So that's how I believe we can educate girls.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the KJ Real Talk Show. Today I'm joined by Miss Jozi, second runner-up. Actually, this is the second time we actually have a second runner-up on the KJ Real Talk Show. I'm pretty excited. So today's guest, we're joined by Ofentse. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Ofentse Pioneer Saladile. I'm 23 years old and I'm your current reigning Miss Jozi 2025 Second Princess and Digital Trailblazer.
That's what's up. Congratulations on winning Miss Jozi, second runner-up. How are you feeling though?
I feel really great. I'm super happy and
Yeah, that's what's up. You want to talk about your background, before, who is Ofentse?
Ofentse really is just a chill girl, I can't lie. Beyond everything, I think first and foremost, I am a child of God. That is the center and core of everything that I do and I am. And then everything just kind of flows from there. My favorite color is pink, and it's something I always have to say because it's kind of like one of the biggest things in my life. Everything that I do is pink, but pink for me is not just a color, it's a state of mind, it's a lifestyle, and it's a promise of a better future. And I think that's kind of just like the mindset that I bring into pageantry as well when I compete, so that I just emanate everything that is pink, that is sweet, that is pure, that is kind, that is positive. And I think that's who Ofentse is in a nutshell.
That's what's up. Usually when we have guests on the show that also resonate with the child of God as well. How do you present yourself as a child of God in pageantry?
I think really by just owning my faith is a very difficult thing to do, especially not just in pageantry but in the world at large, because you do get a lot of criticism for it, and a lot of people do have a lot of questions and their reservations about their faith. But I think if you're bold enough to just express your faith, to be able to say that I am a child of God, you don't need to be preaching the word 24/7, you don't need to be singing gospel songs every now and again, but as long as people know which kingdom you belong to, that alone is so powerful. It's a powerful stance to take, and I think it really just sets you apart from everyone else, and that's really how I represent myself.
Yeah, that's what's up. So I feel like sometimes as you resonate with the conversation of you being a child of God, I feel like sometimes your lifestyle has to preach to people before you even preach to them. You understand? So I feel like that's the best way to actually, before actually connect to the preaching part, your lifestyle, people have to look and say, oh, Ofentse, she's actually a child of God by the way she presents herself, So that's pretty interesting that you're also a child of God. You also resonate with the conversation, Congrats on that,
Thank you.
Yeah. Just in general, when you look at your background, with the way you were raised, do you feel like it changed or it shaped you the person that you are today?
It definitely did. I do think my background really helped to shape me into a more resilient person. I think I'm very strong-willed, strong-minded, and that would not have happened if I was not born in the place that I was born in and into the family that I was born into, and also the kind of situation that I had to be raised in, basically. I don't come from the fanciest background, from the fanciest place. I'm also just a Kasi girl. You know, I come from Springs, Guatemala. So I do believe that being in that place, growing up in that space around those people really did help me become more resilient, help me to know how to connect with people and understand the power of community. And that's one thing that has, like, I've taken throughout my journey, and it's helped me in great ways to be able to communicate with people, to be able to relate with them and bring myself down to their level as well, and understand how important it is just for a simple conversation to be had in order to connect with a person. I think really communication and connection has been one thing that has propelled me in amazing ways in my journey as a pageant girl, and also just as a girl in general, helping me form friendships and just like building communities in every way that I go.
That's what's up. How did you actually blend over the sisterhood at Miss Jozi?
I actually love the girls so much. It was just very unfortunate that we didn't get a lot of time to be together throughout the competition. I really do wish that we had more time to have like more activities together, more bonding sessions. However, I'm glad that we did take the initiative to form those relationships outside of those meeting times that we did have. I did get a lot of friends from them, especially my trio sisters as well. We do communicate a lot as well, understand each other, support each other. So that's something I do really appreciate. And even from the girls that I was with in top 15 as well, I connected with them in a great way. So I'm really glad that I got to meet the girls that I did at Miss Jozi. They were also amazing.
That's what's up. You know, you're actually the second queen to come with without a makeup, you know, on the show, and I'm like so surprised. How do you find the confidence to actually show up naturally?
I think I'm so gorgeous. So I don't know. Hey, like, I love makeup just like any other pageant girl, of course. But I consider makeup to be like a luxury, like that thing that I put on occasionally. When I have makeup on, you know, it's a big event, it's a big occasion, and they're like, okay, we're showing up now, like for your grand finale, interviews, things like that. But above all of that, I really love how I look naturally, and it took me a long time to get to a point where I loved everything about myself as it is. So I really always just want to embrace that. It's not something I think about all the time, I won't lie. It's not like I don't have anything so powerful behind it where I'm like, I'm trying to teach the girls to just own their beauty, you know? No, nothing like that. But I just genuinely love how I look, and I'm okay with showing up in this way because I believe I'm so beautiful. Okay,
that's amazing. Let's talk about the preps. You know, for before the pageantry. How do you prepare? Maybe for someone who actually doesn't know anything about pageantry.
I think for me, and this is something that I've noticed and I do want to work on going forward as I enter more pageants, is I want to focus a lot more on my walk as well, on the modeling side of pageantry, because I feel like that's one part that I have neglected a lot, because I do focus more on my advocacy and the projects that I just want to push forward as soon as I win, and even while I'm competing. So in preparation, really just sharpening my interview skills. I want to make sure that my communication skills are like absolutely amazing all the time. I think that's how I measure my growth, is like by how I communicate. So compared to the last pageant I participated in, if I'm being asked the same question that I was asked before, how am I answering it today? How much growth have I made? Like, what's different? How has my perspective changed? You know, things like that. And also just like talking to people, connecting more, relating more. Being a relatable person is also something that I really care about so much, because I do believe I wasn't as relatable in the past, because I tried so hard to be this picture perfect girl, but now I'm able to just open up and be myself and show my colorful personality. And I think that on its own is also just a step that shows how much I've grown. So part of my preparation is really just making sure that in every way, shape and form, I'm showing up as authentically as I possibly can. So for any girl who also is thinking about doing pageantry, I think in as much as your walk is important, your advocacy is important, your speech is important, your attire and all those things, it's very important that you know yourself well enough to be able to show up fully as yourself.
Right. Oh, that is amazing. That was so profound, you know.
Thank you.
So, how do you think that we should create a platform or platform for pageant girls to be more educated?
Educated on what?
Based about the industry in general.
Okay, I do think there is quite a lot of information on the internet.
Yeah.
There could be more, definitely. So I think the onus is on us, for the people who are in the space, to share that information.
Right.
There's no benefit in gatekeeping anything, because there is room for everyone.
Right.
Okay, for the girls listening, there's room for everyone. So never think that an industry is that oversaturated that there won't be room for you, that you can't enter the space because so many people you know are already in pageantry. There's a slice for everyone in this cake.
True.
So for every pageant girl, I would like to implore all of us to share as much information as we can,
Right.
post as much as we can, and make sure that we're sharing our journeys and our experiences as real and as honestly as we possibly
Right.
can,
Yeah.
to share the good, the bad, and the ugly, so people know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Because I know from first-hand experience as well, I've gotten into the space with this promise that my life is going to change and this is going to be so amazing. Yes, the glitz, the glamour, and all of those. And yes, it is there, but there's also another part, another reality that coexists with that.
Right.
And I do believe that it's only fair and it's the responsible thing to do for the girls coming after to know exactly what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
The only way they'll know is if we share that information. So that's how I believe we can educate girls.
Right. Oh, that is so profound, eh? But I feel like sometimes as the people that are in the space of pageantry, they're actually not sharing that real side of pageantry. They're just showing the glitz and glamour out on the crowd, you know.
Yeah.
They're not actually showing that other side of that other side of the struggles of actually dealing with, you know, not winning a pageantry. How do you actually copy? How do you actually share a real story and say, you know, guys, I actually didn't win this the pageant, but I invested so much. You know, how do you share that story? But thank you for sharing that, hey. But how do you actually stay real in the world, in a space that is actually forcing you to portray a certain image, you know, for you to win a certain titles?
I think honestly, and drawing on what you just said is so perfect, because I do believe, because there is this pressure to appear as very perfect and put together, and also kind of harmless, to say, like, to kind of show that you're not affected by the fact that you didn't win. Because you see a lot of girls, when they compete and then they don't get the title, they'll go on Instagram, they'll post their beautiful pictures and that long caption that speaks about, I'm just so grateful that everyone, you know, helped me and stuff. And it's like, that is very important. You need to give credit to your community where it's due. But it's not a bad thing to show how vulnerable you are. Be vulnerable and show people that, you know, what?
Okay to cry.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to show that, like, I really have emotions. I invested so much into this, and I'm not happy that I didn't win, but I'm happy for the other girl. You see?
Right.
I feel like there's nothing wrong in experiencing pain and sadness, as long as it doesn't turn you into a bad person, or you don't I don't know, you don't take it a step further that now it becomes a toxic thing. You can still celebrate the next person while also grieving your own loss. It's important, it's okay. And that's something that I managed to do as well. I took time, because I did the most competing for this pageant. I really just spread myself so thin, because I wanted to be Miss Jozi 2025, but I didn't. I became Miss Jozi Second Princess, and it took time for me to heal, to accept the fact that I didn't get the first title that I was looking for. But I think then, if I had the courage at that time to be able to show that vulnerability online as well, and to share that, you know what, I'm actually not that happy, but I'm grateful still that I got the opportunity. I'm grateful that I got to top 3, that alone. Exactly, because I think that's another thing that kind of helped me accept this much better and quicker, is that I understood how tough that competition was. So I did very well, and the fact that I walked out with 2 titles as well is something so amazing. So I think really the pressure, you combat it by forcing to be yourself, by refusing to be told who you are. And there's this quote that I love that says, the world didn't give you identity, so they can't take it away from you. So even this pageant system that wants you to be perfect, it did not make you perfect, so it can't expect you to be perfect. It didn't make you who you are, it can't take away who you are. Yeah.
That is what's up, you know. Usually we always think about, you know, healing is through mental health or heartbreak or something like that. It's actually the unfolded part of actually not winning a title. Actually, thank you shout out to you actually for opening up about that, because usually we always think about, oh snap, it's the grief part.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. How did you feel, winning Miss Josie and at the Grand?
You know, I think by the time I reached top 5,
Yeah.
those who were there, they know I got announced as top 5 and I cried. I started crying because the competition was so tough.
Right.
I think because also we didn't spend a lot of time together and I didn't get to know all of the girls, you kind of underestimate how tough the competition is because you're not exposed to it so much.
Yeah.
On the day, I got to see how much these girls are such powerhouses and I was like, wait a minute. No. This is not what I signed up for.
Right.
But I had to fight. I literally had to fight till the end. So by the time I got called out to top 5, I was like, wow, this is a great achievement and I'm so proud. I was so content being in top 5. So making it all the way to top 3, I really honestly did not care at that point. I was just like, you know what?
You're contained.
I'm content. This is like cherry on top.
Right.
But honestly, I didn't expect that because obviously now that I got to top 3, then my hopes started going up more. Like, okay, maybe I could actually win this
Why
thing.
not?
Why not? Let me take it all the way. But then I didn't. I got called as second princess. But as soon as they did, honestly, there was just a sense of peace there. I was just happy. First of all, I was glad that it was over because pageant's grand finale is so stressful, so much pressure. Yes. So after I heard my name, there was just like that relief that like I can finally breathe, right? And also not being very happy that I don't get to like experience the pressure and the anxiety of being the last two standing and having to hear my name called out. So I was like, I'm gonna leave that to y'all too, you know?
Right.
But honestly, I won't lie, I was so proud of myself. I was so grateful to myself also for sticking it through because so many times I wanted to quit. It was very difficult having to balance the pageant and my social life, my personal life, school life as well. There was a lot going on in my life at that time, and the reason I did join Miss Jozi was to get myself out of a dark place, and that's exactly what it did. So I'll always be grateful for this journey, and I'll always be proud of myself for how well I did.
That is so amazing. Actually, how do you actually celebrate yourself? Because sometimes, when you want to reach certain level and then you can start thinking of, oh, I think I can take time to celebrate myself. We are so hard on ourselves as the youth. We don't really take time to actually celebrate the small wins. How do you learn to celebrate yourself?
Well, after I won, my friends were at the pageant. They came to support me. So after that, it was such a beautiful and sentimental moment because we took an Uber back to their res to pick up another friend, and then they literally walked me through the streets of Bram. We walked together and I was in my dress and in my makeup and a hoodie, and we walked together, just little girls, and we're so tiny, all of us, and they walked me back to res, and after that we walked back up again to Bram, went to KFC and ate. And we all sat there. We were so tired. It was such a long day. We just sat there eating our fried chicken and just not saying anything.
Right.
But that alone was the most beautiful celebration I ever had because it was just like, these are the people who truly believe in me, who truly root for me. Right. Some of my friends were not there at that moment. But the day after that, I did organize like a cute little lunch as well to be like, guys, come, I'm second princess now. Right. Just to be with the people that you love, the people who are supporting you throughout your journey, and to be able to thank them, to also give them like that honor of celebrating them. It wasn't just a celebration for me, but to say thank you so much for believing in me, thank you so much for making this thing possible. It's very important that we acknowledge our community because without them we would be nothing. Right. So it really is those things. And also just hype yourself up all the time, just be like, oh my gosh, like Miss Jozi second princess, like that is super amazing. So celebrating yourself in the little things, in the big ways if you can, very important.
That is what's up, because sometimes, as people, we don't really share that, the realness with your friends, that's, real circle, But a shout out to you for actually, creating that, finding your real people as well, You actually, what's your story behind your passion for empowering young girls, and how did the Pioneer pageant come to life?
Okay, so my whole thing, I love girls so much. I love women. I love females. Anything that is a girl, I love it. And I think it stems from the fact that I'm the only girl at home, the only girl child. I have two brothers, but growing up, I grew up with my cousins as well, and my cousins were also boys. So I always felt that kind of like disconnect and kind of like I'm not really fully included in the space because you guys are not like me. And I've always had that yearning of like having someone like a sister, basically someone I could share things with, I can relate to, a person who can understand me fully for everything that I'm going through, right? So growing up, I've always yearned for a community that is just girls, and I'm so grateful to God that he's always blessed me with communities that are filled with girls and stuff. So I felt like the only way to really give back to my community is to give back to the people I love so much, the people who've helped me so much, who've shaped so much of who I am, because I've gotten so much influence from women and they've built and put so much into me. So that really was just my whole goal. And seeing how like going especially throughout the Miss Jozi competition, it was always the little girls always so excited to talk to me and being like, oh my gosh, I also want to do this, I also want to do that, but they don't know exactly where to start. And I figured, you know what, why don't I start my own pageant so that I can guide these girls to be able to, you know, get to where I am one day and even go further, so that my ceiling can be their floor, you know. But initially I had hoped to have all kinds of ages involved, but just because of how things went, I ended up with just little girls, and I thought it was absolutely perfect. They're so amazing, they're so vibrant and intelligent, and I really just am creating a safe and beautiful space for them to experience what I wish pageantry was for me, especially because I love pageantry for everything that it is, but I have had some unfortunate experiences that have made me kind of question if I still want to carry on. And I don't want another person to experience that. So I want to create a space where hopefully they won't have to experience all the bad things that I did. A space where they can be safe fully themselves and know that they are going to be heard. Their concerns are going to be heard. They're going to be understood. And they're going to be served, because ultimately I am a leader and I'm here to serve. So that's really my whole thing. I'm figuring it out as I go. I don't know anything about running a pageant, but you know what? I am figuring it out because I love it so much and I love them so much. And I hope it grows and becomes much bigger and I can touch many more lives through the work that I do.
That's what's up. You know, thank you for actually creating the safe space for the girls. You know, how do you plan to leave a legacy for people that look up to you?
Really, my legacy, and ever since I was a kid, was always being kind. If I can leave a trail of kindness everywhere I go, if after I leave this interview you can go back and be like, hey, Fenta, that girl and stuff, that would really mean a lot to me, more than the grand and the glamorous and extravagant things. If I can just make you feel good for a moment, I really feel like I've done amazing things. I've made a great impact, because a lot of times I feel like my life was made better through those small interactions and those small moments of kindness. So if after I leave this earth, people can speak of me and say she was a kind individual, I feel like I would have done what God brought me into this earth to do. Yeah.
That is so amazing, so adorable.
Thank you.
Yeah. As a fine art student at Wits, how do you balance creativity and pageantry and leadership roles?
I think I don't have to balance it because they come together. I've found a good way of integrating everything together. I feel like my life is so intentional, and I thank God for that, because I feel very aligned in a lot of things that I do. That doesn't mean I don't have challenges, and that doesn't mean sometimes I don't get confused or stuck, but it's easy for me to get back on track because I know that everything is exactly as it's supposed to be, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at all times. So with creativity, with pageantry, with leadership, everything that I have to do, I always find a way to bring it to a central meeting point, and then they all just pour into each other. Yeah.
That is what's up. You know, you're such a passionate content creator, and what actually got you into content creating?
I think my personality. I started doing Instagram when I was in like grade 5. Yeah, I was very young.
What are you? Your parents allow you to do that?
They really they didn't have a problem because I think I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure they would monitor it every now and again. There wasn't anything too crazy going on. I was really just posting pictures of myself, my friends, literally anything. I would take pictures of everything. So this thing of my friends complaining about me taking videos and pictures of everything, I can't do anything about it. It's who I am, okay? Ever since I was a kid. So I've always loved documenting things that are going on and just like sharing it with the world. And then growing up, then as soon as I got to high school and I saw that people are actually doing this like seriously, I was like, no. So then when I saw in high school that people are actually doing this seriously, I was like, no, I also want to get into it and stuff. And it was more of a hobby more than anything. It was a hobby. It was fun for me, and I just managed to grow the platform to what it is today. And then over time, it just became like a platform for me to just showcase my creativity and my heart. And yeah, it is what it is today because I just kept pouring out my heart as it is. And people love me because I just really show up as myself. So I think that's all I'm going to carry on doing. And that's how it's going to carry on reaching many people, touching many lives. And yeah.
That's what's up, you know. What are you hoping to, achieve, as Miss Jozi's second run-up?
Really, I think right now my entire heart is being poured into the Pioneer pageant. So if I can make the Pioneer pageant a very successful pageant, and by successful, I don't mean big, I don't mean grand. I just want it to be done well, for the girls to be happy, the parents to be happy, and for people outside to understand what the vision is, to understand my advocacy as well, because I'm using this platform to share more about my advocacy. Because my advocacy is very different, it's very new. It's something that I haven't really heard anyone championing for before. So I really want to hone it, I want to strengthen it, and I'm using this platform to do so. So if by the time I'm done with the pageant and people understand what creative emotional education is, I'll be very happy and I'll feel like I've done everything I wanted to do as Miss Jozi's second princess.
That is amazing, your coloring book, right? What's the Pioneer coloring book? What is your goal and what's your message behind it?
The Pioneer coloring book actually was like 3 years in production. Literally took so long to do because of like the inconsistencies in between doing it, not doing it. But more than anything, that also is just a piece of my heart. And I really want girls to be able to slow down and reflect and be able to realize how much God loves them in that moment when they're coloring, to bring color into that page, but also bring color into their own world, into their minds as well, to be able to slow down in such a fast-paced world, because there's so many pressures outside, there's so much that we feel we need to do, there's always a hustle and bustle. So to be able to have time where you can just be with yourself and be with God and reconnect and understand that, you know what, there really is no rush, I'm fine, I'm okay, God loves me, he thinks I'm okay, that's fine. That's really my goal. I just want girls to be okay mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
That's amazing. Let's talk about Miss Universe, right? What's your vision with Miss Universe?
I want to be Miss Universe.
Right.
That's my vision. That's literally my vision. No, I think the moment I got into pageantry, that was my first goal. So if you ever ask me like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'd always just say Miss Universe. And there was nothing else other than that. But I know that you can't just say you want to be Miss Universe for the sake of being Miss Universe. There's steps to it, and also there's a purpose to it. You cannot just wear the sash and the crown and just stand there and look beautiful. There's work that goes into it.
Will come to you.
You see? No, it doesn't work like that. So I do have the ultimate faith that I will be Miss Universe when the time is right. I'm in no rush. But more than anything, the opportunity to go around the world, just meeting children, being able to speak to them, to connect with them, to hug them, to love them, to just, spread that kind of love and that positivity and receive it from them as well, because children are literally the most beautiful creations, in my opinion. I love them so much. They feed into my soul like in ways that I cannot even imagine. They make life worth living for me. And I've had a lot of very defining moments in my childhood as well, and I believe that I'm the reason I am who I am today because of who I was as a child and the things that happened to me as a child, whether good or bad. I want to make sure that people have, you know, the best childhood they can. And unfortunately, I do not have the superpower to be able to do that for everyone I know. But if I can just spread that one word of positivity, that one act of kindness that can give a child hope that, you know what, my future can be better than what it is today. I've done everything that I can do as Miss Universe. Protect children at all costs.
That's what's up, you know. What's next for offense as Miss Jozi's second run-up right now?
I don't know, guys. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. But you know what? I really am just going with the flow right now. That's kind of like not necessarily my mantra, but something I'm trying to learn as a girl more than just being Miss Jozi second princess. I've always been someone who's very, you know, particular about things and feels like everything needs to be planned out. I need to know what is happening when and how, but I'm realizing that I can't really have control over everything, so I'm really learning to release control. And I've seen that the more I release control, the more God then gets room to be in control, and everything just works out perfectly. So I'm really excited for my reign. I know that amazing things are going to come. I can't tell you what they are because I don't know, but I just know, if you get what I mean.
Oh, that's what's up, you know. What's the word of in closing, you know, what's your word of encouraging people that look up to you? They also want to venture into pageantry as well. What's your word of advice?
I think nothing is out of reach for you as long as you truly want it, and that dream was placed in your heart for a reason. So if there's anything that you want, whether it's pageantry, whether it's a degree, whether it's starting a successful business, or even just healing from a traumatic experience, nothing is out of reach for you. As long as you want it, as long as that's a thought that's planted in your mind and in your heart, it's for you, you should have it. So work towards it. Don't doubt yourself. Don't disqualify yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Don't hold yourself back. You are your biggest cheerleader, so cheer yourself on. Yeah.
That's what's up. Thank you so much for coming. Wish you all the best with your goals and also with your startup pageant as well. We can't wait to see you on the bigger picture, which is Miss Universe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. See you on the next episode.